Okay, so find the best frame. Hello, dear drift sport lovers, and welcome to Sochi Autodrom Arena 6th stage RDS Grand Prix 2019. And as usual, I feel the happiest man on earth, because on one hand I see the best drivers in the world, and on the other hand I see the most beautiful audience in the world. Hello, everyone! Unfortunately, I cannot introduce each and every person on the stands to you, but I can introduce the pilots. And the first one is Fail Crew, and traditionally, the first member of the team is the vice champion of the world, Arkady Tseregratsev. Next to him, there's one of the leaders of this season, pilot from the great city of Irkutsk, Yevgeny Losev. The driver who has revived, who reincarnated his car, Ivan Nikulin Barnaul. The guy who struggled with his engine and won one more time, Nikita Shikov, two-time champion of Russian Drift Series. This is what Nikita can turn metal into, so keep the forks away from him. And next to him there stands his colleague from the team, Nikita. Yes, I know that this weekend wasn't very lucky for you, but this is Nikita Fedorov, the youngest participant of RDS Grand Prix. We understand the sports fails are always sad, but you've got more years in front of you than anyone else. The next one, our regular driver for IML Racing China, a pilot of great experience, but who loves drift most of all, Charles N., Hong Kong. The winner of these qualifiers, the winner of D1 Grand Prix, the winner of American Drift Formula, pilot of IML Racing Russia, Daigo Saito. The real jewel of this team, Yekaterina Naboychenko. Many-time winner of RDS East, pilot of IML Racing Russia, Ilya Fedorov. He gave virtual drift to all of you, Anatoly Sherbak from Moscow. Two-time champion of Russian Drift Series from Moscow, Yevgeny Rozheynikov. So I know you're standing next to each other not randomly. This is the opponent of Yevgeny Rozheynikov in top 32, Magomed Omarov. We've got some drivers who are here without cars for some technical reasons, and there are some pilots with two cars between Lexus and Lada. In between, there stands the pilot from Yekaterinburg, Andrei Astapov. One more guy from Yekaterinburg who paid but didn't participate, Daniil Merkel. When I look into the protocol, I see the birth date. Sometimes I cannot believe the figures that I see, because this is a source of endless optimism. Cheer from St. Petersburg, Sergei Kabargin, Didi Kaba. This guy always looks very young, as usual, because he comes from Siberia. A pilot from Krasnoyarsk, Dmitry Yermokhin. Then I'm trembling looking at these people. This is a team, the leader of RDS Grand Prix 2019 after 5 stages. Fresh Auto, Moscow, and the first driver is the legendary drifter from Japan, Tetsuya Hibino. the man who created Fresh Auto and the team, and today he won the Miradiatulen, Denis Migal. The man who can rightfully consider Sochi Autodrom his track, because he's one of the few people who found his way to top 4 here. We remember his phenomenal finals last year. The main hero was this guy, Fyodor Vorobyov. I have a feeling that all of you have been here. Who was here last year? Yeah, so those were you supporting him, I know. So we cannot skip the next guy, and now I understand the reason of these weird qualifiers, because this empty space must be filled with Toyota Altezza, which I am sure will soon join us. This is Damir Diatulin. And one more rich participant who won the Russian long racing championship in one car and is going to ride another one to participate in drift. Boris Abramov from Moscow. Together with Pikachu, rented a car, Arkady Puchinin from St. Petersburg. Next to him, another guy from St. Petersburg, almost a comeback to RDS GP, Ivan Kurenbin. Now we need a lot of air, both me and you, two-time champion of RDS Grand Prix, leader of this season, the world champion in drift, the pilot of Forward Auto from Krasnoyarsk, Georgy Chivchan. But Forward Auto has more participants. It came to the 6th stage of RDS Grand Prix with one more world champion, many-time winner of R1 Grand Prix, Masaru Kawabato. And a simple fishing lover, the senior brother of Gocha, Vladimir Chivchan. This evil Eurofighter that roars even when the engine is off. This is a good combination with the manner of this pilot that we have known for years from Lukoil Racing, AGK, Drift, Kristaps Blues. And his partner, which has already killed one engine today, took another car and did something wrong with the engine once again. Lyosha, I really hope that we will see you, if not today, but in the nearest future. Many-time champion of Ukraine, Alexei Golovnya from Kiev. And today our program is really extensive, and you, dear audience, can also participate in it. We have 2 bolides of Drift Taxi, and one of them is wearing the colors of our partner's Dark Side. It's piloted by Alexander Simintsev, the pilot of Racing Taxi. This is specially purchased and dressed Supra, Alexei Gusev. And one more traditional yellow Drift Taxi, which is driven by a very experienced participant, Alexander Karzantsev from Yekaterinburg. So, dear friends, we have already met all the pilots. Now it's time for us to move into the center of the composition, because there we're going to see some very important people that you definitely know if you are at least a little bit interested in drift. But if this is your first time here, then I am sure that it will be very interesting for you to meet them. First of all, these are our respected judges, our regular judge, Hisaji Kamimoto. He is almost our guy, from GP, David Kalash. And he is already ours. Because, well, Grina, there is nowhere for you to go after this confession in love for the city of Sochi. Three-time champion of Ukraine, Alexander Grinchuk. If I'm not mistaken, today we have both people who came up with the abbreviation of RDS. Dmitry Semenyuk must be somewhere here at the stands. And now we are giving a round of applause to a person from St. Petersburg, Timofey Kosharny. We've known him for a long time, too. He is the P-vlog person. He's a collectioner. He is a bon vivant. He is... oh, yes, he is. I really love him in all possible ways. And, of course, the head of Russian Drift Series, Master of Sports in car racing, champion of Russia, and an advanced driftman, Dmitry Andreevich Dobrovolsky. Traditionally, Dmitry says a couple of words to all of us. Hello, Sochi! Well, this is fire from the very beginning. You're so loud. So our anniversary season is about to come to an end. We are celebrating it with a lot of celebration. The energy of this Autodrom is so amazing that sometimes it's overwhelming. I respect all of you. I thank all of you for coming here. Drift for everyone. Dmitry Dobrovolsky. So, dear friends, traditionally, at the end of the ceremony, please rise for the national anthem of the Russian Federation. We are proud of you, Russia. With a great pride for our country, we announce the sixth stage of RDS Grand Prix 2019 open. Happy New Year, Drift Sochi! And once again, welcome to Sochi Autodrome. All of a sudden, the cars and the public disappears thanks to our funny TV magic. Several seconds are left to the beginning of the tandem runs of the sixth stage RDS Grand Prix 2019. And we will begin, as we usually say, traditionally, but this is not the way the traditions work, because the traditional stage was in Krasnoyarsk, where there were no by-runs, but this time 30 drivers were announced for the competition. 28 went through the qualifiers and 26 made it through. And therefore, the winner of the qualifiers, Daiga Saito, will start the tandem runs with his so-called by-run, which means that Daiga just goes out to the starting line and takes the run of 777 meters in whatever way he finds appropriate. 218 is the in-run zone, and after that, approximately 550 meters, there is that he needs to drift through. This is the tandem run table. After him, we will see the run of Denis Migal and Damir Diatulin. And Damir had some technical problems, so I hope that he managed to overcome these problems during the break, and we will see the Damir that we know so well. The next pilot, Fyodor Vorobyov versus Ekaterina Boychenko from IML Racing, Russia, and Arkady Tsregradzev versus Ivan Kurimbin. Ilya Fedorov is the one more pilot from IML Racing who also does the by run, which means that there are 2 pilots out of 3 from this team did not have an opponent. Then Ivan Mustakimov and Anatoly Cherbak. Christopher Blush also does a solo run at the final of his competition day. He will prepare for the tomorrow battle in top 16. Titika against Arkady Puchinin. The St. Petersburg Derby we're going to watch next at the equator of our top 32 round. And then we move to the other side of the tournament table. Masato Kawabata from World Auto is also doing his by run. He was the second in the qualifiers. Ivan Nikulin versus Andrei Ostapev. Evgeny Losev against Alexei Golovny from Lukoil Racing HKK Drift. He decided not to announce a technical fail. Charles Ann versus Boris Abramov. Georgy Chivchan from Forward Auto is also doing a by run. Very close to Kawabata, his result was. And Dmitry Ermokhin versus Vladimir Chichan. Tatsui Hibino from Fresh Auto also does a by run. And then the round will be finished with the opposition who chose large American engines, Evgeny Rozhenikov versus Magomed Amarov. They both have LSA engines. So these are the battles that we're going to see in the next several hours, and I hope that we finish it before dark, because no one planned to have a night race, but it may be just because the Earth goes round, as all of you know, which means that sooner or later the sun will hide behind the horizon, and I hope that everything runs smoothly without delays. It is 4 p.m. Hello! I say to everyone sitting on the stands and everyone watching the broadcast on YouTube, it is still online, it's still free, so please use it as long as we are here. And those who noticed Match TV banners on the cars that make the television compound, well, yes, you are right. The major TV channel of Russia will show a report on RDS Russia on the main Match TV channel. It will be 48 minutes, and Match TV Country, there will be an extended version, 90 minutes, and I'm looking forward to all that. And now let's give a huge round of applause to our ladies who are showing this placard to you. Yes, we're starting the Black Monster top 32 round. Let me remind you that we've got double score for this final stage, which means that Daigo Saida, who won the qualifiers with 50 points, and the winner of the tandem rounds will get not 200 points as in the previous 5 rounds, but 420 points, and the pilots have already begun to harvest these points. The ones who qualified better than others have already got the score that they have deserved, and virtually 160 points have already been recorded, the count of the others. Of course, if there are no technical problems this far. In the individual event, nothing has critically changed. Gocha is a little bit further from Hibino at the moment, but Tatsui Hibino still maintains a chance for the finals. There is still a lot depending on the fact whether Gocha makes his way to top 8. Because if he does, it almost guarantees him a third champion title in a row. But in top 8 you still need to deserve that, and the relationships of Gocha with this track is not that smooth, so there can be challenging. The opponent of Georgy Chivchan will be either Dmitry Yermokhin or Vladimir Chivchan. So if it is the latter, we will see a brothers derby in top 16, and it's very easy to guess the result, especially considering the bets that we've got here. Okay, now let's watch watch the right aerodynamics of this pickup. I think I know why pickup was selected as a promo car by our Black Monster partners. Daigo Saito is now at the starting line. He is the winner of the qualifiers. 94 points, the really perfect run that was breathtaking with a kiss the wall and everything needed for us to enjoy it and to get the maximum score. All of this was done by Daigo Saito, Toyota Altezza, number 87, wearing the colors of IMO Racing Russia with a very atmospheric 8-cylinder engine. The engine similar to those used by Mascard. I guess Daigo Saito was also distracted for a moment, but he's an athlete inside out. We know it very well. And now he is about to start. So we consider it one more training for him. He didn't make it to the touch-and-go area. Saito-san went deep into the first clipping zone, transited really fast, diagonally crossed the second one. Look how deep he goes into the third one. He didn't really have to do it that deep. Here's the fourth one. The further rectangle, the first clipping zone is left behind in the last touch and go. This is all very obvious. Daigo has proven that he is in good shape even when he doesn't have to. He just could ride through it on the straight wheels and it would still be counted for. So congratulations to Daigo Saito. He's in top 16 already. No one doubted. But nevertheless, we're going to watch a derby of Denis Migal, because he wasn't announced for Fresh Auto. That was his own decision, because the strong pilots were already in the team. You can only get 3, and the 2 best team results are accounted for the team. And Denis Migal decided that the trio of Damir Diatulin, Fedor Vorobyov, and Tetsuya Hibino is enough, and that they would bring better results for the team. And it was a very good decision. Now Fresh Auto is the leader after the first stage, and even after the qualifiers we can see some changes. Forward Auto have overcome failed crew, but we know that some of them have already found their way into top 16. Damir Diatulin and Denis Migal. Denis Migal happened to be higher in the qualification rating, and he is going to warm up. Before, at the briefing, we discussed the necessity of these warm-ups as such, and since unilaterally no one voted for the cancellation, Dmitry Andreevich Dobrovolsky, the head of race, decided to act in accordance with the regulations, and the regulations require these warm-ups. And interestingly, on one hand, it is clear that when the asphalt is cooling down, there may be, that may be important, but on the other hand, you cannot do anything with the car after this anyway. And even if you find out that you were mistaken with the adjustment, you just have to deal with it. But as the asphalt cools down, there will be more and more sense in these warm-ups, because even if your pressure is wrong, it would be very nice to know it beforehand. Damir Diatulin is on your screens. I hope that Altezza feels okay, and Damir will do it better than in qualifiers, because unfortunately he couldn't do it at full scale. He is swinging the car left and right. I understand that there is no sense in spoiling the tires, because after he will have to drive through his own smoke. There are some fluctuations of the wind, and the pilots suffer of it too. And even this spin out of Yevgeny Losev, I couldn't even see well, because I just saw a very thick white curtain. This is how the technology is worked. I couldn't even understand what it was about. But anyway, we've got a special microphone, which is at the judges' tower. And if there is anything not clear in the tandem runs, we can always get a comment from the people who actually make the decisions. Let me remind you the task of the pilot in the tandem run. The leader is the pilot who was higher in the qualifiers rating. In this case, this is Denis Migal. He has to perform the task of the judges, trying to get the 100 points. The chaser must follow the actions of the leader. Damir Diatulin will try to do that. In the second run, the drivers switch roles and the judges need to evaluate how each of the drivers did each of the tasks. And after that, as a result of those comparisons, we will get the name of the pilot who makes it into the next round. And this is the first part of this duel. Denis Migal is moving to the right, initiates into the first touch and go zone. The first clipping zone is good. Damir lets his opponent go a little bit. Will he try to catch up with him? Denis Migal is getting deep into the clipping point, lost a little bit of speed at the exit, and it was enough for Damir to get closer. And now yes, they don't make it to the finish. Unfortunately, Damir Diatulin touches the wall and stops. I want to see where the stop happened. Did he reach the touch and go? He is in the touch and go zone, and it looks like the damage of the car is serious. The rear right wheel is in a very unnatural position. Let's see what happened. There is a part of the judge's task which is called Deceleration Zone. This is the zone where you're allowed to lose speed, and this is where you're allowed to slow down. And here we can see that Denis Migal violated this requirement, and Damir created a little gap between the cars that allowed him to avoid the collision with the car of Denis. But here, Damir fell into the wider line. No deceleration of Denis I could see. But in slow-mo, it is even harder to see. Let's see what the judges say about this. But at the first glance, it looks like this is the mistake of the chaser. Yes, so all the four wheels got out of control, and this doublet contact happened. Now the car will be evacuated. Yes, we wanted to have it without delays, but, well, here they are. Sometimes I allow myself to tell you more about these deceleration zones. Why do we need such a component of the judge's task? It is needed for the judges to have an idea of who is more guilty of a collision if it happens. So that if a collision happens in the zone where it is allowed to slow down, let me remind you that this zone goes from the second to the third clipping zone, then in case of a contact, the one driving the first would be to be blamed. In all the other cases, it will be the one who is driving the second. Now, Timofey Kosharny, we are giving you the floor. Hello, everyone. This is Timofey again. And as you can understand, I'm in the Severs Park. Now it's so quiet, silent, some light wind blowing. But I know that somewhere there, far away, something bad happened. And we are now waiting for evacuation. We can breathe out and relax, because unless the car is here, the next run will not begin. Nikolai? Thank you, Timofey. That was Timofey Kosharny, who has been also acting as a correspondent for many stages in a row. Yeah, I can see. I suspect that all this will take more than 5 minutes to repair. Therefore, we have one candidate for the title less right now in top 32. Let me remind you of the rules. Every driver has a right of the competition timeout, which is a 5-minute break. Once in the competition day, you can use the right. And clearly there will be no chance besides stop 32. And now this is the time to take this competition a timeout. But I guess that Fresh Auto team, having inspected the car, will come to the conclusion that it makes no sense. But even during the qualifiers, we have the procedure according to which you can also take the competition timeout in the regulation if the driver wishes to improve his or her result, or he or she has a 0 in the first run. You can take a competition timeout and to shift the second run to the very, very end of the qualifiers and therefore catch this last chance. But it looks like it's not only the rear wheel, the suspension is very badly damaged. But, well, sometimes magic happens, sometimes the mechanics can work miracles, but I guess this is not the case. This is not Hogwarts School of Magic. I can hear the voice of Timofey Koshvarny. I guess you do too. And Timofey is now in the maintenance zone. He is about to welcome the car of Damir Diaturin. Now the cars do not go to park service. Starting from this season, there is a pit stop zone for 1 minute procedures, like a check of pressure or cooling or something like that. And there is a maintenance zone, which is also next to the pit stop. And if the participant exceeds the 1 minute, the competition time out is automatically taken. And tomorrow it will be especially up to date because the candidates will do several stages in a row, and we will have to watch the time, to keep the time, not to take these 5 minutes instead of 1 occasionally, because it would be very sad to hesitate with the cooling for several seconds and lose the right to the 5-minute interval that can sometimes really change the situation. And there's a lot you can do in 5 minutes. The mechanics can do that, but I'm afraid that such damage, like here, cannot be eliminated this fast. But technical disqualification announcement hasn't been done, so we're just waiting. We don't have many options. In the meanwhile, all these little debris are removed from the track. There is usually a lot of them in such collisions. When the wall of hit, the banners have been damaged as well. Well, this is the situation when Sochi Autodrom services have a chance to demonstrate that they are here for a purpose. And this is not a coincidence that they host Formula One, the main racing event on Earth. We give the floor to Timofey Koshvarny, who is next to Damir Diaturin's car. Damir, say a couple of words while your car is being taken care of. Just tell us a couple of words. Damir, say something while your car is being loaded. Breathe out and tell me what happened. What happened? Just tell me, because this is my second visit to Sochi, first of all. And again, it finishes like this. And the run was not bad, as it seemed to me. And as you could see, I was the chaser. I was following him quite well. And in the last curve, I began to approach. But as Denis told me, he went too wide, and he had to slow down a little bit not to touch the wall. And therefore, not to crash into him, I had to also to go out of line, so I was running after. And too late, I realized that we were both moving to the wall, and yes, I made a mistake. In the broadcast, I could see that Denis hesitated a little bit before the wall, but you just crashed into it at full speed. But okay, let's move off. I hope that the guys can fix it, and I hope that the suspension hasn't been damaged too badly. I'm afraid that the suspension is very badly damaged, but we will try to do our best. This was Damir, dear friends, and we hope that the mechanics can fix it in 5 minutes. Nikolai? We've got one more important point about everything that Damir said. What would the judges say? Who is the guilty in the collision? The correction of Denis was so critical, and the judges, if there is a decision that it is the leader, no collision between the cars, situation when it would be really useful to listen to the judges, and I hope that they will give us their comments. But at least we've got 5-minute break for Fresh Auto team. And if Damir doesn't come out to the start, and if the judges say that he is not guilty of what has happened, he may be even announced to be the winner according to our rules. Okay, so Timofey Kosharny is... Or are we going to watch the replay? What is going to be next? The judges ask for a replay. Okay, let us also watch it one more time in real-time mode. I've got some news for you. It's not very well from the service park. The mechanics of Damir have inspected the cars and said that it is impossible to fix in 5 minutes. So the car is being taken to the boxes, to the tents, and now the judges need to decide who was right and who was wrong and make their decision of who goes to the next round of top 16. Nikolai? All right, then. Now it's up to the judges. Oh, well, yeah, this situation is not really simple. Okay, so now we're gonna hear the comments of the judges. They are very concentrated, looking into their monitors. They are not looking into a mirror. They have a special replay thing, so they are watching it over and over and over again. Let us also watch it. Well, there was some correction, but it was after everything happened, I guess. Obviously, from the car, it looked differently, and there is no reasons for us not to believe Damir. But also, the judges perfectly understand that there is a certain interest for Denis. That Damir goes to top 16, and there is a huge time gap to the top 16. So now we're going to hear the comments from the judges. The microphone is taken out. From underneath the table, Alexander Grinchuk is on air as well. Okay, so speak to us. Hello, everyone. Once again, this is a good beginning of Top 32. The main story is that we have different opinions. Inside our judges panel, me and David Kalash supported Yatulin, while Kamimota always says that it's Denis Migal who needs to get the advantage. Me and David Kalash understand that the line chosen by Denis Migal brought him to the moment when he had to release the gas, while Ilya Tulin, having a leader to follow who was unpredictable in his behavior, who was releasing the gas in the place where he was not supposed to do that, and with the smoke on the track, of course, lost the control. He didn't crash into the leader, but crashed into the wall. So we say that Damir Idiatulin is the one who gets to top 16. Okay, now we're gonna see the graphics. It was not easy for the judges as well. They're sitting there not just for decoration. It's not a coincidence that there are 3 of them. So these are our observations. I do not hear the roar of the engines well, but Alexander Grinchuk and David Kalash was enough. And their consensus for Damir Idiatulin to get into the next round. Therefore, Fresh Auto team gets some time to return the Altezza to life. Therefore, the first pair of top 16 is already ready. Taigo Saida and Damir Idiatulin. That is the Fresh Auto team. Denis is blinking at us. I guess the decision has been announced. I don't think that we even need the second run. Yes, Denis is told that there will be no second run. He can return to the service park. So for Denis, it is a win-win situation. He greets the audience. Let us also greet Denis. And this is what's left of Altezza, but at least now they can figure all the damages out, and there are quite a lot. Okay, so who's coming next? 2 drivers of a Fresh Auto are already in top 16. Will Fedorov join them? We will see it very soon. He's gonna compete with Ekaterina Boychenko from IMOL Racing Russia. The battle in the team event is very tough. After 5 stages, IMOL Russia team was ranked 5th. Due to the success of Illya Fedorov and Taigo Saida, it got to the 4th line, getting over AGK drift, and now they have quite an interesting situation because Forward Auto is already ranked 2nd. Fail Crew is this 3rd, and the gaps are not that big, around 110 points, even less, between Fail Crew and IMOL Racing Russia is now on the 4th line, so there is a chance for them to fight for the top 3. But this is all hypothetical, of course, and the double points magic can also work. Okay, but let's wait. At least even failing to get to top 16 for some of the drivers can give us some answers, but still there is a lot for us to wait until this team event is resolved, as it was, for example, last year at the finals in Vladivostok, when until the very last moment IMOL Racing were struggling against Forward Auto, and Gocha, after winning his personal title, was also fighting for the team. And now Kawabata is here, and due to this fact, they managed to get over Fail Crew, at least for some time, and to get to the 2nd line. Fresh Auto is also doing quite well. 1,642 points they have already won, versus 1,543 for Forward Auto, but getting 200 points is not such a challenging task, even without the double points. But with the double points, it's even easier. Okay, but let's move from theory to practice. Fyodor Vorobyov, a Fresh Auto team, Fast 21.05 versus Ekaterina Boychenko driving Toyota Altezza. I'm already seeing Russia. Both cars have 2 JZ engines. The white line is behind. Now the chaser may shift to the left. Fyodor Vorobyov is very far behind. Ekaterina Boychenko is drifting. I hope she doesn't crash into the wall. And now Fyodor Vorobyov is having some problems and putting his wheels straight after the third clipping zone. And here the angle is also not enough. No, I'm afraid it may be 0-0 and the judges may have to evaluate them by one run. There may be no comments from the judges, but let's see how much each of the driver has gone with straight wheels. About Ekaterina, I have no doubts that she has done it. See, there is a pendulum-like swinging. Altezza is swinging for quite a long time. Ekaterina has been driving on straight wheels, and now let's see how far Fyodor Vorobyov has gone. At least 3 car bodies ahead. All this remind me of a joke, to be sincere. It doesn't really look like a technical problem. Maybe they were solved in the process, speaking about Fyodor. Because at the end, he was finally driving sideways and with the smoke as it should be, as it is supposed to be. Well, the situation is quite weird. But if we imagine that in that moment, after the third clipping zone, Ekaterina was closer to Fyodor, then the tandem run would have been complete because the mistake of the leader was serious. But will it help Ekaterina to make it to one more time or even win in the second run? We will see it. So this is an unusual situation. I didn't really expect it from Fyodor Vorobyov, who is traditionally performing well at this track. The first line was crossed quite early by Fyodor, but we didn't see the red flag, which means that the run is continuing in the battle mode. And Fyodor needs to get closer to Katya, but no, Ekaterina makes a mistake. Fyodor Vorobyov is passing by. Ekaterina could have got that chance, but didn't work out for her. Okay, let's hope that Ekaterina will compete more in RDS Grand Prix and she will get over this Sochi phobia. You see the right wheel shifted outside the white line. The judges said that after the white line, well, it is not allowed to do. But well, considering the circumstances and the fact that the judges didn't react and the run was not stopped, there will be no restart, because normally the restart is announced as soon as possible from the judges' post closest to the participants with the red flag for the pilots not to risk in vain and not to burn their tires. Okay, Alexander Grinchuk has been renamed. Fyodor Vorobyov, after these weird runs, gets into top 16. We congratulate Fyodor and his fresh auto team. Ivan Kurenbin is finishing his warm-up round. He's gonna have a difficult battle with Arkady Tserigradzev. Arkady Tsaregradzev, who has made his fans quite nervous. He comes out in Black Monster top 32 versus Ivan Kurenbin. Arkady said that the problem was in the incorrect anti-lock system. It's a special electronic system. For some reason, it made the engine die during the first qualifiers, and he confessed that standing on the start line, he made up a post for Instagram if he had 2 zeros, but it didn't work. So Arkady, write it down somewhere. Maybe you will need it later. Of course, I don't wish you to get 2 zeros in the qualifiers, because it is always sad to lose when you are with the opponent, but it is an absolutely different thing when you destroy everything with your own hands. Arkady Tsaregradzev and his powerful Nissan Skyline versus Ivan Kurenbin and his Mazda RX-7 with 2JZ engine. It is almost 2 times more powerful than Arkady Tsaregradzev, but nevertheless, he kind of spreads it through the 2 clipping zones. Very careful. At the end, he does the 3rd one. Ivan Kurenbin is getting closer, having taken the advantage of the moment, because Arkady has to drop the speed, and after that, Tsaregradzev runs very far forward. Why do I emphasize your attention on the fact Tsaregradzev ran through the clipping zones while Ivan Kurenbin was already far away? Because the judges normally perceive such a neglect of clipping zone as an attempt to run away from the opponent. Of course, Tsaregradzev could do it without all these stories and get away from Ivan Kurenbin. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. I'm sure he didn't do it intentionally, but the fact is the fact. And here, the judges will be very cold-hearted, because if it violates the judge's task, it will be considered to be an illegal way of getting away from the opponent. So this is how the actions of the leaders will be interpreted, no matter who the leader is. And now Arkady didn't make his position, well, kind of doubtful, but let's ask Timofey Kosharny, who is his interlocutor, Ekaterina Navoichenko. So, Katya, it's a great pity that you didn't make it, but still, you have had some good runs. I know how worried you were, because you were performing better than many guys. Like who? Like Fetisov? Okay, the 2 of you, say something. First of all, you, Katya, please don't be sad first. All of us ask you, don't write any sad posts in social networks. You are great. You are driving well. We have lots of drifters in our country. You know who I'm talking about, who pretend to be drifters. But Katya drives much better than all of you. Come on, now you speak. What do you expect me to say? What shall I say? Driving with such an opponent was a pleasure. Not today, but, well, normally it is. Because this is the person you can rely on. You know that he will never do funny things. I have a very good attitude to him personally, so it was a pleasure. It's a pity that I couldn't make it, but, well, the strongest is usually the luckiest. So this is a fair victory, and I congratulate you. That was very nice of her. And now you, Fedya. You know, it was a classical story for me, this transmission when there is 1 instead of 3, then after 3rd, after 2nd, there should be the gear that I'm expecting to see, but there is a 2nd. But, well, I think that now I will pull everything together. We will invent something. I will just drive on the 3rd and the 4th, and it will be okay. I wish you good luck in top 16 tomorrow. We're returning back to the track. Nikolai? Thank you, Timofey. Thank you, Ekaterina. Thank you, Fyodor. We will meet Fyodor tomorrow. I really hope that he will return this confidence and that he will make us speak of him in the superlative form. And now we see the second run of this pair of pilots, Arkady Tsaregradzev It's now the chaser. He is shifting across the white line too early. I guess all the drivers are ignoring this task of the judges. Sooner or later, it will be over for someone. Now Arkady Tseregratsev lets Ivan Kurenbin go. He creates a reserve before this third clipping zone. The transition is done in the tempo of the opponent, and then he lets the master go. Well, the situation is not the easiest. Even though Tseregratsev looks more confident when the judges begin to count the mistakes. Here, Kurenbin went by. Here, he just approached the clipping zone, but Tseregratsev did not work good. This was very similar. Here, too, Tseregratsev made it better, but from the first round, we could say that Tseregratsev has earned some sort of advantage. And he was also closer as a chaser, but this is not that we expect from drivers of Arkady Tseregratsev level. But I think that it doesn't really happen that frequently for him and Ivan Kurenbin to run in a tandem, so that Arkady could be sure how close to get. And this white line, I'm waiting for some sanctions for this neglect, because the judges were very clear, and the boss of the race also emphasized it once again that you are not allowed to cross the white line. If you're the chaser, you cannot shift to the right before the white line is over. But this is very obvious, but it would be very funny to see one more time. I wouldn't really be surprised. Applause to Ivan Kurenbin. He returned. This is a driver from St. Petersburg. We hope to see him next season, and this far we see one more by-run, thanks God, without a warm-up. The by-run by Ilya Fedorov. Here he is. That looked really cool. We are happy that he could lift the glass like this. I wonder how the mark of the zero position of the steering wheel is located, because it looks like it's very much shifted to the side, but Ilya is okay with that. Only 540 horsepower has his EQ30 engine, but he qualified very well. He was ranked 4 after the qualifiers, only letting one of his colleague Daiga Saito ahead in the qualifiers rating, together with the 2 pilots from Forward Auto. Now let's speak to Timofey Kosharny one more time. He has someone to speak to, I see. Okay, so I am now by the Fresh Auto team, where I found Damir and Denis. So now let's hear from themselves what happened. Denis? I don't know, there are some divine powers that helped Damir to win, because I really wanted to win. Well, I'm kidding. Of course, nothing happened. We were just driving, and in the last transition, it was smoky. I was trying to be careful in the transition and went on the slippery line. I released the gas a little bit. I pushed it, and it was not slowing down. Then I heard the sound and saw that Damir has crashed into the wall. That's it. I have already commented on it. He has commented. Okay, so that is your comment. But at least due to the system that we have now, Damir can fix the car during the night. Does anyone have Alteza? I need some spare parts. Okay, guys, if you live in Sochi or in the nearest regions, bring your Altezas here to the service park. Damir needs some spare parts. You will definitely be happy. Nikolai? Okay, if it helps Damir to fix his car, it will be really great. It will be a miracle. And now Kristaps Blush is on the track. He is officially introduced to us. One more by run. I didn't hear any announcements of the shifts. But since we haven't seen Aivar Mustakimev and Anatoly Sherbak, I guess we will see them next. Theoretically, for some technical reasons, you can request to be shifted forward. So normally the organizers do it if there are no any obvious objections. So at the moment, Krista Blush from Local Racing AGK Drift. He didn't really make it to the third clipping zone. I really love the sound of American V engines. I just love this 8-cylinder music. In one song is a 12-cylinder symphony, but 8-cylinder symphony is much more appealing to me. I hope that now the smoke will fade away and we will continue, because we are going to watch the St. Petersburg Derby by Sergei Kovrygin and his opponent Arkady Puchinin, wearing the driving Yevgeny Grigoriev's car. We're checking the car, the hands fixtures, the system that does not let the head of the pilot get away. Where is the flanking F, I wonder? Arkady Puchinin goes to the warm-up. Yeah, hitting the cones was not really obligatory. Also stopping was not obligatory. Something must be wrong with the transmission. By the way, there's one more interesting battle of two American engines. Here's the flanker F. And Didi Kaba driving it. Is he gonna warm up? Yes, he's going to warm up. In the reversive order, our participants are driving out. Hi, girls. Didi Kaba will start this duel as a leader. He was the 12th and Arkady Puchinin was the 21st after the qualifiers. It feels so good to see the full stands. Hello, everyone. Are you bored there or not? Are you okay? While we're waiting for the drivers, let's make the wave from the right-hand side of the stands. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, you're so awesome, guys. Give a round of applause to yourselves. We cannot even see the entire stands in our cameras, but I'm really happy to see that you guys are here. I've been told that approximately 3,600 people are here, and I guess in the afternoon more people came. Let's see the two St. Petersburg drivers, Didi Kaba driving the car he developed by himself. It's called Flanker F. And 46 BMW with the GM Alexei of Evgeny Grigoriev, which is borrowed by Arkady Puchinin. His team is actually serving this car. So like if you break it, you can fix it yourself. There has been some contact with the reinforced concrete, but the end was still quite happy. Didi Kaba is now the leader. He loves this track. He loves these high-speed Fury dashes. Let's see how it's going to work together with Arkady Puchinin. Puchinin is preparing too long in advance and lost the initiative. Didi Kaba misses the first touch and go. He hardly gets into the first clipping zone, and this is the stop in the third clipping zone, and this is basically the end of the third tandem run. Yes, Didi Kaba was faster at the initiation, 146 kilometers per hour versus 119 of Arkady Puchinin. And here we should comment that the start procedure doesn't require the chaser to start in accordance with the traffic light. You can start a little bit in advance, but you need to control the moves of the leader, because the leader has 3 seconds after the green light goes off. After that, the start procedure will be considered violated. And this is why after some opponents can see that their leader is hesitating, they are also lingering, because starting before the green light brings a red flag, and this is a false start. Means that you have to return to the start and do it all over again. But if you see that your opponent is not really willing to do everything appropriately, then you can wait for 2 more seconds and wait until he leaves, and then he will understand that you're not there, and then in the full throttle you can go and jump out from the opponent's shoulder and get a huge advantage. Didi Kaba did the first part of the task, but he didn't make it to the finish of the evaluated zone, which is a big pity. The judges are having a big trouble because the sunset is now lighting into their eyes, and there is also a lot of smoke, so they can hardly see anything. This is all really cool for photographers. We expect a lot of beautiful pictures. In Nizhny Novgorod, there is also a similar phenomenon when the sunset is highlighting everything like this. But for the mass media, it's not very good. So this is the eternal conflict of beauty and mass media. I hope one day we will find a way to bring it all into peace. Kawabata has come to his by-run, but it's too early for him. I'm sorry for speaking in verses. And here they are roaring their 16 cylinders for 2. The 2 American 8-cylinder engines. Okay, go. Now they start synchronously. We don't see the red flag, which means that the run is starting. They initiate in sync. Now it's much clearer. Arkady Puchinin is going through the touch zone. Didi Kaba touches the wall, and he falls behind from Arkady, who flies away in millimeters with the second clipping zone and enters the third one. He goes through the 4th clipping zone, and the camera catches them. Oh, how did Didi Kaba catch up with Arkady Puchinin? It is unbelievable. This must be magic. 5 kilometers per hour was the initiation speed difference in favor of Arkady Puchinin. 142 versus 137 kilometers per hour. Let's see it once again. This time Puchinin chose a narrower line, but he made it into the first clipping zone. So here, majorly, the pilot with number 10 should not be complained of. Puchinin made a mistake, but he continued. He got into the 4th clipping zone, even though not perfect, but he did it. He did it. Here they were maybe too far from the concrete, but Didi Kaba also went narrower than his leader. We're waiting for the resolution of the judges. Yes, here he fell off the line, and the left rear angle of his flanker F, he checked the quality of the concrete. With the concrete happened to be very good. Here it is very hard. You make a very little mistake and it brings you to a bad result. The track is very difficult and there's also smoke working against you. It makes it even harder to find the way. Leonid has shifted much, which is also a violation of the task of the judges. I think that everyone could hear what the judges were speaking about. If you didn't, wait for the graphics. I'm not going to say anything. Unilaterally, everyone gives the victory to Arkady Puchinin, who is going to compete versus Krzysztof Blusz in top 16. Masaru Kawabata is now at the starting line, doing his by run. He is now competing for Forward Auto team. He's the world champion. We've been waiting for his finals with Gorcha at IDC, but unfortunately, Kawabata-san faced some technical problems and he didn't make it to the finals. But well, I am very thankful for this initiation at 160. But as for the rest, it was a 0 run. But there is nothing tragic about it. Masaru Kawabata from Forward Auto team proves his right to compete in top 16, and we now shift to Timofey Kasharny, who will show us an interesting interview. And I'm now here absolutely alone, and there is no one to interview, but I hope that together we will find someone to talk to. Who can we interview? Who? Oh. Hi, Arkasha, tell me, what happened? I almost got over him. I almost switched to the fourth, but then I thought, no, I'd rather stay on the third. But I remembered, oh, I've never driven like this on the third. So I did it in a safe run, but I found a new thing. Now I ride with a broadcast. So I came from the run, I took out my phone, I looked at it, and then I said, okay, the plan is clear, let's go. So you had a plan and you stuck to it. Yes, I did. I almost got into the wall at the initiation, but I did it well. So before the run with Ivan Kurenbin, when I talked to you informally, I could see some fear in your eyes. How can you explain that? Unfortunately, I haven't realized how I can make just as beautiful car as Ivan's, and this fear was just sort of hopelessness. It explains a lot. I wish you best of luck tomorrow, and let's switch back to the track. Nikolai? Thank you, Timofey. Thank you, Arkady. This Alexei Galavnya always turns on a broadcast, and we also watch some replays. So if not the broadcast, but at least the replay of your run, you can see. And while the next tandem is preparing, let's give the floor to Timofey once again. Or not. Where is Timofey? Okay, he's not here. Timofey is away from the camera. No, Timofey, you're here. We're listening to you. So in fact, guys, I just wanted to interview a police officer, but He refused. He said that he was doing his duty and he cannot give interviews when he's working. So we will have no interview with the police officer. But Vanya is here. Come on, come up here. Was it a shame? Well, it was a shame, but how did it happen? Tell us in a couple of words what happened. I liked everything. I asked Annette from Ivan Nikulin, and I could see the clip, and everything was going right. But so it's a great pleasure to drive with Arkasha. He never runs away. Vanya is a cool guy. Next year we hope you to finish your Viper and kick some ass. Thank you, Nikolai. So here they are, finally at the starting line. Ivan Nikulin from Fail Crew, Barnaul, and Andreas Tabov from Yekaterinburg. On Lada Vesta, the first pedal drift car has seen the light. So now this is gonna be not an easy task to catch up with Ivan Nikulin. And it is not easy to do even at the in-run. How wide he went, and someone was supposed to get this wall, and Ivan Nikulin did it. This is very sad for all of us. 900 HP 2JZ engine didn't take Ivan Nikulin to the destination. So naturally, this is the end of the run, because on the return line, there is his Silvia S15. Let's see, the initiation was good, everything was going right. Then an understeer, and the tires standing there happened to be very lucky. These tires come from Ryazan. They are well trained. They are well fixed and clipped to each other, and this is not a joke. These are no joke. These tires are lucky, which means that they have saved lots of cars from heavy damage. And this time they embraced the Silvia S15 of Ivan Nikulin in a very gentle and tender way. But I'm afraid that Fail Crew team has lost one driver, which is sad. Ivan Nikulin brought two cars here, the S15 Silvia with LT4 engine, and this S15, which has gone through a total rebuilding and had its engine replaced. Now it's 2JZ of 900 horsepower. So it's a good vehicle. Ivan Nikulin has confessed that he hasn't driven it before. And yeah, so this was their first meeting at this Autodrom. He has trained with two cars, tested both of them, and finally resolved to ride the Silvia. Hello, guys. Later we'll show each and every face on these stands. If there is someone cheating on his wife, so please take some measures. The beautiful sunset on the banners, the colors are changing. It's so beautiful, isn't it? The judges sitting against the background of the best audience in the world. This is Ivan Nikulin coming back. Let's give him a huge round of applause. The boy who survived. This is all about him. The face expression of the Silvia is not very happy, but armed adhesive tape can work miracles sometimes. And this is Andreas Tapov, a driver from Yekaterinburg. Will start this tandem run as a leader. Eye contact, fair play, ready. The sequential boxes, a click, and I guess both of them are Samsonas. Ivan Nikulin is scrupulously doing the starting procedure, and he did a very good initiation, no problems. And he's running after Andreas Tapov, and he is so well. Okay, there is a contact at the third clipping zone. As Tapov is continuing, Nikulin stops, but then he finds the courage to continue. The last transition, and on the straight wheels, the driver of Fail Crew finishes this run. Something makes me sure that the judges won't take too much time for discussions. Yes, and the contact was at the moment when the deceleration zone was already over. This is where Andrei was supposed to open up. It may, well, you may laugh at it, but the situation is not that easy, as it seems. Yeah, so two engines are too little for Alexei Golovnya. He has broken his own JZ, the JZ of Timofey Kashardny's car, and now the third one in one day. It reminds me of Erich Hartmann. There was a German in the Second World War who in one battle was crashed several times. He would jump with a parachute, then get another airplane and then continue flying. Ivan Nikulin, in the meanwhile, is back to his tent, and we may even interview him. But basically, the deceleration zone was over here. The clipping zone begins. You are supposed to press the gas, but Ivan Stavov didn't do it. But this is where the collision happened. But it's hard to understand where exactly and who would be to be blamed for this. Ivan Nikulin was indeed going with a larger speed, but he could expect his opponent to press the right pedal and to gain speed, and then the collision could have been, well, could have still happened, but the consequences wouldn't have been that sad. But why am I saying all this? Because Ivan didn't make through his first run at all, but if here he is recognized as not guilty, then the judges will be entitled to announce one more time. That is very interesting. This round of Black Monster Top 32 is really exciting. David Kalash is explaining something to his colleagues, and Dmitry Andreevich Dobrovolsky as well, who has judged lots of events of various levels. Ivan Nikulin is not leaving the car. Well, yeah, so there is a reason to wait for the results to be announced. This is the wounded face of Sylvia S15. Now Ivan Nikulin leaves the car. He hasn't lost a boot. This is just the design. Timofey Kashardny is here next to Ivan Nikulin. Let's give him the floor. So, what I found this wet Vanya. Come on, tell us what happened. Do you have beer? When you have beer, we can talk. I've got some, but a little later. And there on the track, what happened to you? What happened on the track? I'm just a walrus. I'm not accustomed to this car. This is one of the best interviews ever. I love Vanya, even almost like in Krasnoyarsk. He always knows what to say, so next time you will do it better. Nikolai? Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Timofey. So what is the decision of the judges? So we're still waiting. We're waiting for the judges to announce their decision. It is clear that we've got too many accidents, but the track is difficult and the illumination, the light has changed. The words have been said. Let's see. What do the judges say? Okay, so the winner is Andrei Astapov. Will there be any comment from the judges, or are we going further? I guess everything is quite clear. The decision maybe implies some sort of a reasoning, but okay, Alexander Grinchuk. If after the first run of Nikulin Astapov there is no question, the advantage is Astapov's. In the second run, the judges had different opinions because Astapov, even though he applied double brakes on the external clipping zone before the spin out, when we watched the slow-mo, we could see that he began to accelerate, after which Nikulin crashed into him, and therefore I myself and our Japanese colleague came to the conclusion that this is the problem of the chaser, who could not handle the tempo of the leader, while our Czech judge resolved that there was too much slowing down of the leader, but there is the majority. So Astapov continues. Kamimoto's son and Grinia put David out. So this is how can we comment on it? So these are the opinions. We can see how difficult it was to figure out the situation, but we did. Andrei Astapov is out to top 16 to fight versus Masata Kawabata. And now it is Ivan Nikulin's comment is also clear, because he did not deny his blame. He said that he was too optimistic because he was not very much adjusted to the car. Evgeny Losov and Alexei Golovnya, a very unexpected tandem. This is Alexei's third car for the day. In the morning training, his Nissan 200SX was dead, after which he switched to Timofey Karcharny's car, and there the engine also died of the qualifiers. It was very obvious after the second run of the qualifiers, and now he took the backup car of Ivan Nikulin, which is very uncommon for Alexei. Red-handed American agent by General Motors. So this is sort of a development of LS series. Okay, so they started the car. Okay, so let's see how he can do it. How Alexei can handle this car. Silvia S13. When in between the qualifiers and the tandem runs, we spoke to Alexei. He said that third car in a day, it already reminds him of some circus, and I can understand him well, because giving up would not be cricket. For as long as you have the capacity to continue the battle, you should do this, because it's not only about your private, your personal interest, but it's also about the team. It may be also interesting for the team, so that even the stickers were... He ran out of stickers. There are still some Lukoil colors and logos of the sponsors. But obviously, he didn't have enough stickers for a third car. Who knew that there would be 3, not 2, or whatever? Okay, so what would you say? How does your Vaz going? How is your Vesta doing? It goes and we go with it. All right, so how was the run? Because to me, it seemed that you had a little deceleration and Ivan just touched on your butt. Well, yeah, he kind of updated my left rear side. There are some little challenges about the suspension adjustments, so we are hesitating and we're not squeezing out all the 100% of it, but we are trying to be careful, and we will do more adjustments during the night. So I hope that tomorrow we'll show you the maximum. We wish Astapov and his Lada Vesta good luck at tomorrow's top 16. Nikolai. Okay, so we are back. We are turning our eyes to the starting line. Evgeny Losov from Fail Crew Toyota Mark II in body 81 versus Alexei Golovnya. All the data about the cars are already outdated, But this is not what matters. Black Monster top 32 is continuing. I didn't see the traffic lights, but I hope that there was no false start. In sync, the initiation is in sync. So now Alexei shouldn't fall out, but he doesn't work out for him. The champion of Ukraine and vice champion of RDS cannot make it. Chasing Evgeny Losev, who also made some mistakes in the third clipping zone, just doesn't work it out. The fourth clipping zone wasn't also done really well. And here, yeah, so he straightened the wheels in the last touch and go on the edge of acceptability. Let's see it one more time. Let's see the replay one more time. 850 horsepower of 2JZ for this car is absolute truth. So when I said that all the data are outdated, it was not really correct. It also makes an impact on the speed of run. 165 was the speed of Evgeny Losev at the initiation. Alexei Golovnya made it at the speed of 151 kilometers per hour. And the initiation was really beautiful. It was in sync, very smooth, right according to the judges' task. Alexei did it brilliantly, but what happened next? Unfortunately, he just lost the tempo and lost the pace, and Evgeny Losev ran away very much. And in any situation, we're waiting for the second run of this tandem. Also, the smoke will fade out. Let me remind you that Evgeny Losev, after 5 previous stages, is one of the chasers of Georgy Chevchan, even though he is now losing after the qualifiers. He loses 321 points, which is quite serious disadvantage, especially considering that Gocha is practically a member of top 16. It is going to be hard to overcome. I cannot see the starting line. Okay, now I can see. The cars are already waiting for the green light, and we are also still and breathless waiting for them to start. Driving an absolutely new car for himself versus Evgeny Losev, Alexei Golovnya. We can see the lights. This is the night mode. Evgeny Losev is a little careful, understanding that you can expect everything from the opponent in such conditions. The transition of Alexei Golovnya and Losev is hesitating, waiting for his opponent to do the next move. He is trying to get closer right before the finishing line, but we are waiting for the replay because it would be very interesting for me to see the opposite drift by Alexei. Or was it just some hesitation with the transition? So what was that? Corrections. Yeah, so there was a little bit. The straight wheels lasted for too long. Even without the opposite drift, we can speak of a zero result. We will see what the judges will say. Let me remind you that opposite drift is moving with the wrong side forward. But since it didn't take long for the judges to discuss the results, everything is clear. They have an extended version of a DEMS system, which shows the angle at very point of the run. Yes, so it was unilateral. Give a round of applause to Alexei Golovnya. He didn't kill the third engine in the same day, and he struggled until the very end, trying to get the maximum for himself and his team, which is very important, and we give him a round of applause, and we welcome Yevgeny Losev. So what do we have? We have got two pilots from Fail Crew in top 16, Arkady Strigratsev and Yevgeny Losev, the ones who have better results in the individual event. All three drivers of Fresh Auto, the main line. As for Forward Auto, we still need to see. And we've got two drivers of IML Racing Russia who made their way to the top 16. But still, these are the two who have better individual event results. And Kristaps Blush for Local Racing AGK Drift will continue to compete on his own. Let's see what he gets tomorrow when we see the battles of top 16 and so on. As for timing, tomorrow we meet at 11 o'clock Moscow time to welcome the pilots once again, and at 12 o'clock we begin the top 16. No autograph session is planned, but for those who watch the broadcast without going to Sochi for some reason which is absolutely not clear to me, we will show you the parade right before the tandem runs, which will be in approximately 11:45. Charles End and Boris Abramov are the next tandem up for Black Monster Top 32. Let me remind you that Black Monster does not only sell the energy drink in our food court, but also buying this drink, you can win some nice prizes, and also look for Black Monster original cans at shops and at our food court, and then you can take part in Chevrolet Camaro hunting. And we've got the first run of Charles N. IML Racing China versus Boris Abramov, two LSX cars that compete against each other in top 32. Charles N. begins as a leader. That is a very thick baritone of engines fills the air. Yeah, the first clipping zone is done by Charles. The second clipping zone is done. Oh, so wide, but he does it right, Charles. He is getting back to speed. Boris Abramov makes a serious mistake, straightening his wheels on the way to the fifth clipping zone. His BMW 46. Unfortunately, he failed to mimic all the moves of the leader. That is a difficult track and difficult configuration. Even though Boris Abramov is not a newcomer in drifting, but for a long time he was in long racing, which is stamina racing, and he confessed that he is not gonna say goodbye to this activity, but still he also decided to start drifting. He competed in regional championships, trying to get as much as possible, as much as he can in his busy schedule. He has gone through many events in the season. But let's wait for until his quantity goes into quality. But Sochi track is the place where even the experienced drivers have lots of challenges, and we have seen it even today lots of times, and sometimes even the most experienced drivers have problems here during the tandem runs. Just like our judges who seem to feel cold, let's warm them up with our applause. It looks like it's warmer on the stands, judging from how our audience is dressed. Yes, the judges' tower is quite a cold place. Boris Abramov is the second. He's on the right. Charles N is on the left. He is not really Charles, but we will speak about it some other time. He didn't even shift to the right. He just, he's losing some part of his rear optics. He goes by the second clipping zone. Charles almost loses his car. The loss of speed was so serious by the third clipping zone. This is a situation when the chaser has to do some serious work. They're passing by the fifth clipping zone. Boris Abramov is driving very carefully past the clipping zones and with some incredible effort of experience and expertise. Charles didn't stop. He didn't turn backwards, and he made it through the entire run. Well done, Charles. Especially here, it looked very scary because it was very easy to stop completely, but Charles made it. He made it through. Okay, so when the car was back, Charles said that he had a very good result with this car before. It would be very nice to repeat it. And now Charles N goes into the next round, where he will compete versus Evgeny Losev. Georgy Chevchan is doing one more by run. We have 6 of them, so this is not the last one. Tetsuya Hibino will do one more. Georgy Chevchan is the current champion and 2-time winner of RDS Grand Prix. And due to his success in the qualifiers and this by run, there's only one pilot who can catch up with Gocha in the next round. I will play more with the figures tonight, not to be mistaken, but it looks like if Gocha makes it into the next round and top 8, he will be invincible for all the opponents. But there may be someone who can get in his way, and this will be either Dmitry Yermokhin or Vladimir Chevchan. So this is what may happen. Here is him, Dmitry Yermokhin, the driver from Krasnoyarsk. So we're going to see the Krasnoyarsk Derby. And once again, we are amazed at how the qualifiers bring the pilots together in the tandem run table. Who could imagine such opponents to compete against each other for the right to fight versus Gocha in the next round? It would be funny if Vladimir does it. That would be definitely mean the victory of Georgy Chevchan in this season, at least. But I don't know how it works for the team. It's too early to judge because the team event has lots of, underwater stones, because we're going to ask Anastasia Steinberg, who is extremely scrupulous in counting all the scores. I have no idea where they get all these figures and how they combine them, but at the end we have the final result. So this is a sort of magic. Just before the podium I can see it in the paper and I announce it out loud, and that's what I do. Dmitry Yermokhin decided not to do a warm-up, but this is his right, his choice. Or is he gonna do it? Or he is gonna do it? I had some suspicious information about the technical condition of Dmitry Yermokhin's car. It is a Silvia S15. This was a half warm-up before the first tandem run of this tandem. Dmitry Yermokhin and Vladimir Chevchan represent Krasnoyarsk City. Vladimir Chevchan also represents Forward Auto team. After that, we see the byrun of Tetsuya Hibino. And after that, a very interesting duel of Evgeny Rozheynikov versus Magomed Amarov and Ivar Mustakimov versus Anatoly Shirbak that we haven't seen yet, but we would be very interested in seeing. So this is the presentation of the drivers, both cars with SR20 engines. There are some little details that are expressed by the abbreviations. And as for the technical contents, Vladimir Chevchan's car repeats Gorcha's configuration in many ways. This is how it works for them. We experiment on Gorcha's car and then we replace it for the others. Okay, so here we start. Dmitry Yermokhin as the chaser begins this run. Vladimir Chan falls behind. Both pass by the first clipping zone. Missing it was going to be with the second. Yermokhin is more careful here, but he doesn't make it to the third, the very corner. He almost crashed into his opponent's car, Vladimir Chevchan. He had to push the brakes and go straight. And yes, the tandem run is failed. It feels like Yermokhin has been lost a little bit. Okay, so let's see what happened there. Vladimir Chevchan was even faster at the initiation, even though not much. 134 versus 141 of his opponent. Here, of course, there was a serious mistake of Dmitry Yermokhin. It seemed to me that like there was a contact between them. Let's see the front part of this Silvia S14. Because it seems like everything was fine. He didn't really reach him. Didn't reach the left door of his opponent's S15. It's like in football. You're watching from the side, it looks like there was a goal, but there was none. But wouldn't you agree that it really does look like that? But we can see that the cars are intact. We can see both of them at the starting line. They're here. Come on, Dmitry Dobrovolsky is hurrying everyone up. It's getting dark, and it's getting dark very fast here. The asphalt is beginning to shine. The initiation, and now Yermokhin lets Vladimir Chevchan too far away. And this is the main problematic zone. Here the line of Vladimir is too narrow. Yermokhin is doing the transition. It's almost in sync. So what is going to happen next? One more, fifth clipping zone. Yermokhin doesn't let Vladimir Chevchan go. Okay, it wasn't bad. Okay, so what? We have seen the warm-up together with the judges. Now let's see whether there is a decision, or do the judges need more time for discussions? I cannot hear any decision, so then we do a break for advertising, and then we will be back.
Ни единой царапины. Видите?
Ага, видим. Что она была в ДТП 5 раз.
Скачай автору и проверь историю перед покупкой.
Да у нее пробег почти нулевой. Посмотрите.
А мы уже смотрим.
Что пробег скручен.
Скачай автору и проверь историю перед покупкой.
Да вот документы, все чисто. Проверяйте.
Уже проверили.
Что машина в залоге.
Скачай автору и проверь историю перед покупкой.
And we are back to Sochi Autodrom, and we've got the decision of the judges for the previous tandem. The pilots did not convince Temi Motasan, but Alexander Grinchuk and David Kalash give their votes to Dmitry Yermokhin, and this driver is gonna meet Georgy Chivchan, and in his hands he will hold the destiny of Gocha. We will see whether he becomes the champion right away, or maybe he will, but not right away, but not in an instant, because if he stops the battle at top 16, everything will depend on this guy. This is the only chaser of Gocha who still retains the chance of winning the season of 2019. Tetsuya Hibino, a driver of Fresh Auto team. He has a very interesting history. Once he spent the entire season at RDS East, and he won this series right after the age of Fedorov. It happened. Without any safe runs, Tetsuya Hibino does his job. 145 kilometers per hour at the initiation. Not a record, but it is very impressive. And the next tandem, the tandem of the drivers who may fight against Tetsuya Hibino, and we switch to Timofey Kosharny, who has an interview for you. Okay, so I came to Forward Auto tent right now, and I got Vova Chivchan while he is still warm. We can see his smile and his happy face. Yeah, you got me warm, but you lost a little bit. Well, yeah, I was ready for this, but I was close. I'm getting closer and closer to normal competition next year. I hope to surprise you. I hope you will surprise everyone, because we are tired of waiting for you to show us better results, because your brother has become, a star. He is too proud. Okay, first you get through the junior, now then you will get the senior. Okay, we are waiting for you for pilav or kebab or whatever. Okay, we're waiting for you, and we shift back to the track. And Nikolai, thank you, Timofey, thank you, Vladimir. And you can see what plans for the next season we have. It's very nice to realize that Vladimir Chivchan will be in RDS GP with his brother. This is Magomed Amarov, who is backed to the big drift, and it was a loud return about his engine sound. And as for the results, there's still a lot to work on. In the regional championships, he's also competed, but he has a problem with the car, because the cars are for RDS GP, and in the regional champions like RDS West or RDS South, there are some restrictions on the widths of tires. So he doesn't have enough point of contact, and the car is very powerful. And there are two bolids with LSA engines in this duel. The winner of this tandem run will become the competitor of Tetsuya Hibino in top 16, and also may influence the result of the championship. First, there is Gocha. This is all very predictable. If Gocha wins Dmitry Ermokhin, everything will be very clear. If Gocha doesn't win for any reasons, then it will all depend on how one of these guys, Magomed Amarov and Evgeny Ruzhenikov, how they handled Tetsuya Hibino. Race Taxi has finished its run. This is Toyota Supra, wearing the dark side colors, who is the partner of the 6th RDS Grand Prix. Evgeny Ruzhenikov is coming to the starting line. Evgeny Ruzhenikov qualified as the 11th, and Amar qualified as the 23rd. And according to the top 32 tournament table rules, they are the opponents of each other. They are now far from the starting line to do the last burnout. They warm up the rear wheels. The asphalt is cooling down very quickly as the sun sets. Evgeny Ruzhenikov and Magomed Amarov, 700 horsepower versus 640. So the capacity is very close anyway. The experience is a little different. Evgeny Ruzhenikov is two-time RDS champion. Magomed Amarov is in a comeback mode. Well, let the track judge them. The first run, the Furidashi, and we run into the first external clipping zone. Evgeny Ruzhenikov is far from Magomed Amarov, and Ruzhenikov slows down and far away from the third clipping zone, and that was the end for Magomedov. With this lack of speed, he was trying to handle, he was trying to adjust, he was trying to get back into the tempo of the leader, but after this narrow line, he just failed, he couldn't do anything. So now we're gonna watch the repeat, 151 kilometers per hour, and almost 145 for Magomed Amarov. So you can see the difference in the distance, even with the backward for Amar, and even the actions of Ruzhenikov didn't change anything. The Alteza was just shifted in such a way that he happened to face the barrel. Evgeny is not excused with this, but at least he did not make any obstacles to his opponent in any possible way. We're now waiting for the second run. And yes, Timofey Kasharny is there at the service park. Let's give him the floor. Hello everyone once again. While we're having this little break, I would like to interview another person, but of a different race, not the one that you could see there. Unfortunately, you did not see this one. You missed a lot, because this is Kirill Sarychev. I want to ask you a couple of questions. How was the race? What was your impression? It was cool. Running away from Moscow always feels nice, because here it is summer. Look what that guy is doing. Getting into summer in late October and seeing this show was cool. I really like that the track is close, and as they pass by, it just gives me the creeps. You need to see it live, because on the screen it looks slower. The organization is also cool. How was the race? Awesome, it is awesome. Okay, this is our good old joke. Okay, so let's switch back to the track. Thank you. We were glad to speak to you. Nikolai? Kirill Sarychev once, well, not once, but he took part in the opening ceremony of the RDS Grand Prix stages. He is the World Championship in chest press. Over 300 kilograms this guy can lift. I'm afraid of thinking what he can do with Kasharny. Kirill, please leave Timofey. He's our mascot. Now in the next round, Magomed Amarov is the leader and Yevzhenikov goes in sync. In the initiation, we are waiting. We have hold our breath. Magomed Amarov is passing by the most difficult zone. He almost stops. Ruzhenikov has to save himself somehow. He drops the speed almost to zero and then continues the chase after the leader, and here comes the finishing line. At this stage, there are lots of surprises, especially when the twilight is getting thicker, and there is no doubt that it's getting dark. It is almost 15 to 6, and it is getting dark really quickly. But we've got one more run to watch. Okay, so here Evgeny Ruzhenikov got into his opponent. Let's see what the judges will say. It is very similar to the situation of Dmitry Yermokhin and Vladimir Chevchan, with the only difference that Ruzhenikov was more confident as a leader. But no, the judges didn't think over for too long. This is their decision. Let's give the floor to our judges. They want to comment on their decision. So who am I to keep them from doing this? So it is a short explanation for everyone to understand what just has happened. The both chasers, the both drivers in the chaser role failed, and they got 0 for this. This is why we compared the mistakes of the drivers as leaders. And in these situations, Evgeny Ruzhenikov had less mistakes. He did better as a leader. This is why he goes into the next round. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, dear judges. This is the proof, even with some reasons. And now the last tandem run of Black Monster Top 32, Anatoly Sherbak versus Ivar Mustakimov. Ivar Mustakimov as a leader will start this battle. And by the way, I told you something about Anatoly during the qualifiers, about the technical structure of his car. They put the sequential by some Sonas, and Anatoly met this new device right here at the last stage of RDS Grand Prix 2019. Only here he tried it for the first time, and here he is learning how to swim by jumping into the water, and he is learning how to use this new device. But Anatoly is doing good, and generally his experience is of great use. But you remember that he used to compete in ice racing and rallycross, and no one uses any sequentials there. So this is a new reality for him that starts right here. Let's see what the result will be like. Versus Ivar Mustakimov, he's going to compete. This is the last vacancy in top 16. The opponent of the winner of this tandem will be Ilya Fedorov, as we know from the bye run, which Ilya Fedorov performed and deserved as the driver ranked 4th after the qualifiers. If we have an interview, we can see Timofey for a couple of minutes. We are back to the service park where Timofey Kasharny is waiting for us. Okay, we're now going to be on air. Roma. We are ready for the interview. Wow, are we on air? Okay, here we are. So, well, Dima, tell me. You were not perfect, let's be sincere, but tell us a couple of words about the run. Well, the run was almost predictable because I've been, so I initiated too late, so this is the story. And only in the second part it all became clear, but I didn't see Vova. There are rumors that you had some problems with the car. Did you fix everything? Are you ready for the next day? Yes, we had some adjustment problems. We were experimenting to maximize the capacity. Now the car is back. We're not going to change anything. Okay, good luck in top 16. Nikolai? Yes, so that was Dmitry Yermokhin, the man who will be the main obstacle on Vladimir Chivchan's way to his third title as the champion of RDS Grand Prix. And we introduce these guys to you. These are two different cars. Lex IS of Ivar Mustakimov and Silvia S13 of Anatoly Sherbak. Both of them are with JZs. So what is happening now? Let's go Ivar Mustakimov. He has collected a nice collection of trophies in the junior series. He got in top 4 once at the fourth stage of GPS Grand Prix of one season. This is his major achievement. And Anatoly Sherbak is his opponent. He is the debutant of the championship, and he has a problem of in the third clipping zone, but Anatoly is doing great. He didn't get frustrated. The transition is in sync. The Silvia is slowing down, and they finish next to each other. So bravo, Anatoly. You are doing great. The initiation was also in sync in all possible ways, even there was no big difference in speed. Not too intensive for Ivar Mustakimov, 128 kilometers per hour, so the difference was very insignificant. Ivar Mustakimov narrowed the line in this U-turn greatly, but Anatoly didn't crash into the opponent and continued to move. So the result was of a good quality despite of the darkness and smoke and all the other challenges that the pilots may face due to the evening time. It's not even 6 o'clock, but you can see that it's really dark. We are already in the night mode. But the breeze is nice and it blows the smoke away, and it feels great because the smoke would have done it really bad. Alexei must feel nice that there is a Ukrainian flag right here. They must be looking at the flag and sighing nostalgically. They spent so little time back home in Odessa. How's your mood, guys? How are you doing? Are you cold? They're already wrapping themselves in the banners to warm up. Okay, so let's see the starry sky. Everyone has lights, flashlights on your smartphones, so let's do it. Oh yeah, this is real space. This is a galaxy of spectators of Russian Drift Series. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being here despite the darkness and the cold and the inevitable cold. The sunset is almost over, and into the sunset will our participants run. Ivar Mustakimov will chase Anatoly Sherbak. the second part of the run, the competition for the last vacancy in top 16. The initiation, Aivar Mustakimov is a little late. Anatoly, can he make it into the first clipping zone? No, too narrow. And here it's also too narrow. What's going to be here? Oh, yeah, and also Sylvia S13 stops completely. I wonder what Aivar Mustakimov can do in this situation. He also runs chasing. He was not as organic. The leader made a mistake, but Anatoly Shirbak offered a higher speed at the touch and go. 142 versus 128 kilometers per hour in the previous run. So it was all very similar. It was a kind of a mirror impression. Will there be a one more time? We will hear very soon. There was a lot of speed at the moment where it was absolutely inappropriate. And now we are thinking of it together with the judges. They would be very happy to finish it all, but being objective is the priority. So let's see what happened in the first part of this duel. This is the first part, the replay. First of all, it was much slower. What was in the first clipping zone? Yeah, Aivar Mustakimov was there, even though the in-run was not that intensive. And here also he didn't stop, but the line was too narrow, and the absence of this critical speed loss of the leader actually allowed Anatoly to handle the situation. So I have a feeling that after the first run, Aivar looks as a better candidate. It looks like the judges have an opinion. This is unilateral. So Aivar Mustakimov will compete versus Ilya Fedorov, the last 16th participant of IMAL Top 16. And Black Monster Top 32 round is over. I thank everyone who was with us, especially on the stands and in online broadcast tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We will see the opening ceremony of the second competition day of the sixth stage, the final stage of the 10th season RDS Grand Prix 2019. This is the end of the tournament. The top 16 is on your screen. You can see all the names on your screens, all the duels. For those who want to see the broadcast tomorrow, please join us at 11:45 and at midday. The competitions of IMAL Top 16 will begin. Black Monster Top 32 and the first day of RDS Grand Prix is therefore over. Once again, I thank all of you. This was